What's the sexiest thing a girl has ever done to you? There's a massive difference between a woman who will suck your D and a woman who wants to suck your D. This lot, although I love blowjobs. A blowjob where it feels like a woman is hating it makes me feel shitty. However, a blowjob where she's enjoying it herself is like heaven. My wife a couple nights ago was about to go to bed as I was lying down watching a movie, and she turned to me and goes, "Yeah, I need to suck your dick." I was a bit shocked because we were winding down and I was about to pass out myself, so I wasn't expecting anything. Turned into 30 minutes of her just not wanting to stop. 2 mornings later she woke me up with the same thing. Yeah, those are the good ones. Pulling her hair back, tying it into a ponytail, and giving me the "you best get ready pal" look. My wife doesn't understand why I find her putting her hair up so hot. She went and got a pixie, and I was like, "Oh no, the sexy ponytail." She responded with, "Well, now I don't have to, so you'll never expect when I'm coming for you." On a ski trip with friends, the girl I had a crush on climbed into my bed from the foot of the bed, gave me a long slow blowjob, swallowed, and then went back to her room. We skipped skiing the next day to stay at the condo. Stayed together for 3 years after that. This is really hot. My wife and I bought a new headboard for our bed for our first apartment. It was some mass-produced thing that came from a factory that had zero quality control and none of the parts were lining up the way they were supposed to. My wife saw me struggling with it and said, "It's not that big of a deal. We are just going to break it anyway." And we did. "Did you use a sledgehammer?" Hugging my arm. I know, super tame. But I melted inside, and that's about it my entire 20 years of living. When I notice my sweetheart going in for an arm hug like that, I always involuntarily flex a bit. I wanna make sure she grabbed a good, strong arm. Saw her picture a profile on Match, thinking I haven't got a shot in hell at meeting her, but I gave it a shot. After chatting a couple days, surprisingly she wants to meet up. Seeing her walk in the bar, I'm thinking, yay, no way is this going anywhere, lol. Things go good. We are having a nice conversation over drinks and appetizers. She gets up to go to the ladies' room. Before she walks away, she puts her hands on both sides of my face and gives me a kiss. We've been together for 10 years now. No idea what she saw in me that night. Did you make her laugh? It's usually making them laugh. Showed up for a third date with a small backpack with her stuff for an overpass stay, thereby immediately dissipating any tension over whether this was the night I was going to get lucky. We will be celebrating our 43rd anniversary next week. Congratulations to both of you. 43 years is an awesome achievement. She committed premarital eye contact with me. Sin. Heresy. Shame. Ran into an old HS crush at a local bar. Talked for a bit and left. Got a text from her later that night to come hang out. She answered her door in a shared nightie. And that was a great night. I love it when women are that direct. I love it when women are that direct. So much yes. For me it's the huge difference between feeling like I sort of convinced her to have sex and feeling like she wants me. She's laying on her back and I'm kneeling over top of her chest for a blowjob. After a few seconds she says, "Hold on, this isn't working." I think, oh no, but then she pulls her head over the edge of the bed and tells me to stand on the floor over her head. There you go. Now you can really get in there. God bless her /U0001F1. Lol, was she still on her back? Sorry, while yes, that position is great. I always laugh when I open my eyes and see my BFS hairy butt. Also nuts on the forehead. I'm done. She liked my engineering sketches. Did you sketch her like one of your French designs? Isometric is so hot right now. I had just gotten together with a girl that I'd fancied for about 17 years. We got back from our first date. She pushed me up against the wall in her hallway and kissed me. After we broke mouth contact she said, "I've been thinking about that for ages." I said, "Really? How long?" And she said, "About 17 years. Apostrophe. This almost happened to me, but my alarm clock went off. She went out in public with me wearing just lingerie and heels underneath an overcoat. The first time I read this as, with me wearing just lingerie and heels, That would have been really sexy too. Had a bit of a whirlwind romance with a sort of friend right on the heels of getting out of a bad relationship. We'd go to her place, hang out, drink coffee, beers/wine, eat takeout Thai food. I would joke with her that I didn't put out until the third date. Well, our third hangout rolls around. We're chillin' at her place, watching a movie and drinking. I've drank too much to drive home, so I'm crashing on her couch. We made out and got into some heavy petting, but I had no expectation whatsoever to get laid. We finished watching a movie, and she went to bed. About 5 minutes later, she comes back into the room buck naked, pretty much rips my pants off, and starts blowing me. Once I finished, she looked me in the eye and said, "Now that you've finally gotten the hint, come to bed and F me like you mean it." Apostrophe. I had gone in for dental surgery, wisdom teeth removed, and she came over to hang with me while I was still half out of my gourd from the anesthesia. We took a short walk, her helping me along when I drifted, and she kissed me at the end. I discovered that I still had blood in my beard and mustache shortly after the kiss. She had seen it and kissed me anyway. Can't imagine what kind of breath I had at the moment, since I wasn't supposed to brush quite yet. We will be celebrating 24 years of marriage shortly. I proposed to my now wife the day after I had surgery, and we always joke that the anesthesia hadn't worn off yet. It's a dangerous state to be in. Sang along to Be My Baby in a whisper in my ear while I was driving us home after a date. It happened over 30 years ago, and I still melt when I hear that song. Wait, Maria or the oldie? Hate to say it, my friend, but Maria is an oldie too. In 3rd grade, I was really shy, but a girl talked me into meeting her at a high school football game. Very small town. At some point, she slipped her hand into my coat pocket. We held hand the rest of the night. Maybe doesn't qualify as sexy, but I remember it 60 years later. This would make a cute short story. I'm a farm kid, and was working on fixing a cattle pen with a drill and screws. GF at the time, city gal, offered to help, wearing pink rain boots and all. I ended up dropping a screw out of my hand into the manure in the pen, and I hesitated for a second to think about how to get the screw without everything being covered in manure. She didn't hesitate, and beat me to the screw, and just wiped the manure on her pants to clean her hands. It was that moment I knew she was the one for me. Yes, we screwed later in the day after showering together. We've been married 10 years now. I met a girl on a holiday and she snuck her number onto my phone before we separated at the airport. I called her about 10 days later. Have been together for 23 years and have 3 of the best children I could have ever hoped for. The 4th kid is a bit of a daddy. Don't worry, I've been there too. In college, I walked this pretty girl home after a concert. She was an acquaintance, the friend of a friend, and I was just making sure she wasn't walking to her off-campus apartment by herself in the dark. She invited me in, and we sat across from each other and talked for a bit. Then she suddenly stood up, walked over to me, leaned down, and put her tongue deeply into my mouth. Spring. Edit. There's a backstory here. I will call this girl G and our mutual friend F. I had recently, inadvertently, done something that hurt F, and G had angrily scolded me about it. So G was about the last girl on campus who I expected to suddenly seduce me. Maybe that made the whole experience even more thrilling. Stuck up for me. I'm usually the one that does the backing. It was super sexy to have a girl back me for a change. Postscript. I'm loving the KFC story, but it was more of a someone backstabbing me scenario. She found out and confronted him. The sexiest part was she didn't even think anything of it. We were traveling through Japan as friends on my motorcycle and edging toward a real relationship, but for some reason I wanted to slow the relationship down a little. Her Japanese was better than mine, and we checked into a place that had private onsen / naturally fed hot spring areas with a little privacy. She made the reservation for us, and I kind of figured that she opted for the more private small party onsen versus the larger public one. But I wasn't sure until I was. We get to our little onsen area and the procedure is you take a shower first. Of course, I'm fiddling with my robe, stalling for time. wondering what happens next, when she opens her robe and hangs it on a hook on the wall. Nothing at all on. She looks me in the eye and says, "Well, I'm in," meaning in the onsen, and in the relationship. Then proceeds to take a shower in front of me while I try to pick my jaw up off the floor. She had lived in Germany prior and was comfortable on the new beaches and sunbathing naked in the parks, and was just couldn't be bothered with being shy. Life's too short. The hugest turn on was her self-confidence, as I had struggled mightily with a previous girlfriend who had none. Clawed my back and wrapped her legs around me during sexy times. I need to text her, / full disclosure, she was a snow leopard from the Minnesota Zoo. I would like to say the time my so did a striptease and lap dance for me, but one time a girl put on a slutty maid outfit and baked me chocolate chip cookies. She had flour on her butt and everything. And then you made love? She answered the door to a 1 AM boutique all in nothing but a robe, immediately dropped the robe, dropped to her knees, and went down on me right there in the open doorway. It was really out of character, making it that much more of a surprise and turn on. Sadly, she broke down in tears while doing the deed a little while later. It turns out I was an attempted distraction from her father, who had passed away a few days earlier. So that was the immediate end of that, and the start of lots of consoling. Both images have stayed with me a long time. No denying the first moment was really sexy. A shame it will always be attached to the second one. We were married 6-8 months at that point. I had been on a short business trip, I want to say 4 days. I landed around 7 at night, pulled into our apartment around 8:30. She was in lingerie and masturbating with a dildo. I got a good 20-minute show before I was invited in. I'll say that was probably my quickest shot in my adult life. She makes me feel loved. I've never actually felt someone else's love before, and I'd always wonder if someone actually does like me. With her it's different. I can see it in her eyes, and in her smile, and in all the sweet things she does for me. I'm so blessed to have my amazing girlfriend. Oh, that's awesome to hear. I'm 24 and have never had a GF before, so I hope one day I'll get to experience what you have experienced. Close bracket. Girl I was seeing came over to my place for a date. When I answer the door, she's standing there in a long ice coat. Nothing out of the ordinary. I'll let her in and ask her if she wants anything to drink while walking to the fridge. She said no. I turned around and she had taken her coat off. Underneath she wore nothing but the skimpiest red lingerie with a giant bow. Like she wrapped herself like a present for me. Instant freaking boner. X was riding me. I said hold on. Slow down. She got a devilish grin on her face, dug her nails into my chest, and rode me like a Kentucky Derby thoroughbred until I exploded inside her. Then lightly slapped me in the face and said you did good. She then stood over me with my cum dripping out of her V and onto my chest, then walked to the bathroom. I just laid there in stunned silence for like 5 minutes lol.